Part 2. We threw ourselves in, shut the doors behind us, and locked them with the big iron bolt. What was that? Millie pressed both hands to her heaving chest. Debbie doubled over with laughter. I'm sure Valerie has some logical explanation. Catching her breath, she dropped on the nearby sofa. What do you think, Val? Speakers. Why is that funny? Could be someone's sick joke. What's your theory? Furiously unbuttoning her coat, Valerie smirked. Santa? Were you a naughty girl, Debbie? Actually, yes, I was. And so were you. Come on. Now I was the one laughing. I'm not saying we were saints, but what the hell is wrong with you all? Shouted Millie. This is serious, God knows why, but we're trapped here by some mystical powers, and somehow you find it amusing. Right. I cleared my throat. Valerie took off her coat and threw it over the golden armrest of the antique chair next to the tall Christmas tree, decorated with red and golden balls and bows and glittering with lights. Then she ran her fingers through her long blonde hair, straightened her back, and said, So, what do we do? The four of us looked at each other for a moment, and then I pulled out my phone. Yeah, right, sighed Valerie. You know they're useless? There's no reception here to make a call. Maybe there's enough to send a message, I said. Yesterday, Jason's message came through. I glanced at the screen and pushed the phone back into my pocket. Nope, not a single bar. Millie looked at us from one to another. Ms. Adkins might still be here? Let's say she is. Debbie leaned against the back of the sofa and folded her arms over her chest. That old bat is a librarian. What do you expect her to do? Millie tilted her head. That old bat knows everything about this castle. If something like this has happened here before, she'll know. Yeah, Millie is right, I said supportively. And even if she has no clue what's going on, she has probably read every book in that library, and she can help us find some answers. Valerie crossed the big hall toward the wide stairs leading to the upper floor. Let's go. Debbie took off her jacket, folded it, and put it on the corner of the sofa. Then she swung her legs onto the cushion and lay down, sinking her head onto the furry hood. You're not coming? Asked Millie. No, I better stay here and watch the door just in case. Debbie grinned. Millie stared at her. The door is locked. If that thing outside is mystical, no bolt can stop it. And you can? I chortled. Probably not, but I can scream very loudly to warn you. Still grinning, Debbie shifted her body, making herself comfortable. Fine. Valerie threw her a glance, then started up the stairs. The library was on the second floor. As we walked down the hallway, we glanced into the open doors of the classrooms, hoping that maybe there was someone like us wandering around. But the whole building was dead quiet, and the closer we got to the heavy oak doors of the library, the less I believed there was anyone but us here in this castle. We pushed open the doors, walked in, and stopped, facing the walls with rows of shelves and stuffed with books in front of us. Ms. Adkins? Called Valerie. Ms. Adkins, are you here? Valerie moved forward. Her hearing isn't perfect. Let's split up and check the whole place, I said, slipping behind the shelves on my left. Valerie continued moving straight and Millie took the right side. Between every 2 rows were tables with 2 lamps on each end, lit to make the room feel warm and alive. I reached the last row and stepped behind it. I emerged next to a familiar reading corner with a couch and a couple of soft velvet armchairs, where the 4 of us liked to curl up more to chat than to read. 5 minutes later, the 3 of us were back in the hallway. What now? Asked Millie. Let's check her room, I offered. Do you know where it is? Asked Valerie. Yeah, it's in the small tower. We walked down the narrow corridor between the library and the classroom walls. At the end of it was a door, behind which was a passage connecting the castle to the left wing. We came out into another hallway leading to a hall with a spiral staircase. We passed a few doors and stopped in front of one with Ms. Adkins's name on it. I knocked twice. There was no answer. I raised my hand to knock again, but Valerie stopped me. There's no one there. She drew closer and pushed the handle. The door wasn't locked. Ms. Adkins? She called through the narrow gap. Like I said, she isn't here. We stepped inside. The curtains were pulled shut, plunging the room into semi-darkness. I reached for the switch on the wall and turned the light on. Maybe we shouldn't, whispered Millie as I moved forward. Ms. Adkins's room looked like a mini library. The walls were lined up with shelves filled with books, most of them in old bindings. There was also a table with chairs and an old-fashioned sofa with a number of cushions and a blanket folded on its side. An arch between the bookshelves led to the bedroom. I approached the small table next to the sofa and touched the cup half full of tea. It was cold. What are you looking for? Asked Valerie. A clue. Something that says she's away, that she went to the party. I picked up the book lying next to the lamp. The edge of a postcard used as a bookmark stuck out of it. I opened the book. The image on the card was a view of a small town. On the backside, there was a short text. My old friend, I need your help. There's something strange, inexplicable happening at my house. I can't deal with it alone, and I hope you can come and help me sort this out. Hope to see you soon. MM. Yeah, I sighed. I think she's gone, too. You mean she went to the party? Millie giggled. Can you imagine her wearing a mask and dancing with alone? Not to the party, no. I handed her the card and she and Valerie read the text. Ooh. Handing over the card, Millie pressed her lips together. Where is she? Asked Valerie when we returned to the big hall and found the sofa absent of Debbie. Did you find her? Came Debbie's voice from the top of the stairs. The three of us looked up. She stood with her hands on her hips and a bright smile across her face. One of her hands was squeezed into a fist, holding something I couldn't see. No, she's not here, I replied. Where were you? I was looking for something too. And unlike you, I was successful. She opened her palm, dangling a bunch of keys. What's that for? Asked Valerie. They don't look like they can open the gates. Of course they can't open the gates. No keys can. Debbie rolled her eyes. But they can open the door to the cafeteria. Oh, that's helpful. Valerie frowned. Instead of looking for a solution, all you can think about is food. We need to get out of here, or are you planning to spend the whole Christmas holiday in this empty castle? I can't think when I'm hungry. Chill. We'll figure this out. It doesn't hurt to eat first. I'm hungry too, I said, climbing the stairs. We don't know what to do anyway, and we can still think while eating. As I caught up with Debbie, I heard Valerie and Millie's slow, discouraged footsteps behind us. I threw Debbie a sideways glance. Where did you get the keys? At the kitchen chef's office? Where else? You got into Trevino's office? How did you do that? It was easy. She looked at me with a mischievous glow in her eyes. It's on the first floor, isn't it? I climbed in through the window. Obviously, I couldn't unlock his office door from inside to come out since he took the keys with him. So I found the keys to those spiral stairs that lead from the office right to the cafeteria's kitchen, then You climbed? I gaped at her. You went outside? Yup. She nodded. Don't worry, I was quick as a bunny. Small Christmas trees with lights and fake snow stood here and there around the cafeteria, and on each table was a potted poinsettia. Valerie and Millie stopped in front of the shelves stuffed with snacks. Valerie reached for a pack of chocolate cookies. Millie took a bag of chips and emptied it in a wooden bowl. I went behind the counter and put 4 croissants from the glass case with pastries on a plate. Debbie pulled the scrunchie off her wrist and gathered her long, wavy, jet-black hair into a ponytail. Then she grabbed a tray, put bread on it, and went right to the fridge. She opened it and started loading the tray with cheese and cold cuts. Then she pulled out a plate covered with plastic wrap that contained cut tomatoes and paprika for sandwiches. Valerie stared at her, then shook her head and headed toward one of the tables. It's cold here. Let's go to our common room, offered Debbie. Ali, could you check that thermos? There might still be coffee left over from breakfast. I picked up the thermos and shook it slightly. It's half full. Half full. I like your positivity. I'm sure if it were Valerie, Debbie raised a brow as she glanced at her, she would say it's half empty. Oh, shut up, Debbie. Valerie turned on her heels and strode toward the door. Millie, grab some cups, Debbie called, following her. Our common room was on the 2nd floor of the right tower. It was cozy, especially now with all the Christmas decorations. Large potted poinsettias were placed on the stands on both sides of the staircase and under the walls. Miniature Christmas trees sat under the glass with tiny lights spiraling around them, and a garland with colorful bows and bells stretched along the fireplace mantel. Above the fireplace hung the Academy logo, a phoenix on a black canvas with his flaming wings wrapped around the big golden letters DN. Beneath it, on the wavy golden ribbon, was written in black, Magic-y Dark Knight Academia. It's not warmer here, said Millie, putting the cups and the bowl with chips on the long table between the couch and the fireplace. She dropped on the couch, grabbed the blanket folded in the corner, and wrapped it around her shoulders. It will be. Debbie put her tray down. She took 2 big logs from the iron basket, put them into the fireplace, and whispered, Incendium. The logs caught fire. We need to figure out what's happening so we can fix it, said Valerie, taking a small bite from the chocolate cookie. I poured coffee into the cups, grabbed a croissant, and curled up next to her, leaning on the soft cushions. To be honest, I don't even know where to start. Holding the bowl in her lap, Millie was nervously sending one chip after another into her mouth. So far, I'm enjoying this, Debbie grinned, putting ham on a slice of bread. Millie swallowed her mouthful of chips. Of course you're enjoying this. You didn't even want to go. I assume because your Mike decided to go to the ball with someone else. Who said I didn't want to go to the ball? I just didn't want to stay there for 2 days. Debbie added cheese and paprika to her sandwich. Jason isn't coming either, so what? Who said Allie and I can't have fun without Mike and Jason? There are enough hot warlocks at Pittsburgh Academy for all of us. Valerie almost choked on her cookie. Oh my God, it was you. You got your wish, didn't you? You wanted to stay here. You made a wish, and it came true. Came true? Debbie frowned at her. And who exactly granted it, may I ask? Valerie's gaze lost focus as she racked her brain, trying to come up with some answer. I couldn't yet tell why, but at Debbie's words, who exactly granted it? My insides warmed up, like I knew the answer but couldn't remember. So many things had to click together, like a puzzle. To make this happen, I looked from one to another. Doesn't it seem strange to you? What things? Asked Millie. How come we were the last ones to leave the castle? Is it a coincidence that your alarm didn't go off and that Ms. Adkins— I gasped, "Holy crap!" I tossed my croissant back on the plate. "I'll be back in a minute." I rushed toward the stairs. "Allie, where are you going?" Debbie called after me. "To the library.